Hey everyone, hopefully you're having a good day. My name's Andy. My channel is Finding Value. Today we're going to do our daily commodity technical analysis update. Work our way through the dollar, yields, precious metals, and commodities ETFs that I follow. If you need any help with anything, check out finding-value.com. That's where I go over individual companies and stock picks and stuff like that. We do have a training coming up 8:30 a.m. Mountain Standard Time on Wednesday if you're part of the community, so don't forget. And let's dive in here. Let's see what's going on with the markets today, and I'll give you my financial opinions. Let's dive in. DXY. So we've got a little bit weaker dollar and weaker yields kind of across the board, and we'll go through that here real quick. But we're right on support. That's what that white line is going across. It is support, and that's some of the stuff I'll go over in the training. And we came on down, hit support. We're bouncing off support. And we'll see if we can get a bounce here to the upside. That is a flag. It's flagging out right now, a flag pattern. So I do think that there's the potential to still go higher in the dollar in the short term. Looking at the 2-year yield, we're down today, but this, to me, it looks like that how can I say it? There's a shift in the attitude. There's a shift in the candlesticks that I'm seeing. We had monster selling pressure coming through here. We came into a kind of a point here. I'll just kind of like draw it in here, where this kind of came into a corner and then we popped out to the upside of that corner. And when we look at this, I don't see the selling pressure. It seems to be subsiding. And we've got large selling pressure days all through here. And then you can see a shift that's occurring. And you can see if we're going to get strong selling pressure down here, we've got no follow through with it. There's nothing selling us down and holding towards the line. It keeps getting it keeps coming back up, the yield that is. So yes, it came on down throughout the day today, but you can see we came back towards the end of the day. So we'll see if we get a turn here and how strong this bounce will be. That's what I'll say there. And then the 10-year still has the same thing. We've broken the downtrend line to the upside. Yeah, we've got strong selling pressure today, but we're not finishing towards the bottom end of the day, which means that people are selling bonds, driving yields higher towards the end of the day. So again, we'll see where we go. We'll see if we can get a bounce here or if this is going to come back and do a return move, something like that. The short term is always the hardest to nail, as anything kind of can swing it in either direction. It could be news, it could be emotions in the market, it could be war, it could be anything. Releasing of if they're going to do QE. But really what's driving and what I'm looking at is the big picture. The big picture are these big moves that we come up. And that I think they will continue to go up over the longer period that we're looking at this. So I think that, yes, in the short term, this is going to be volatile. Don't get me wrong there. We've had lots of selling pressure through here. We've broken that downtrend, and we'll see if we get, maybe some trampoline jumps before heading higher. And it's even possible that we come back down to the 3.4, 3.5 range with time. It is possible. Look at the TYX. The 30 years doing the same thing. We've broken the downtrend. We're getting a little bit of selling pressure here, and we could pull back some just in the short term before heading on up, I think. TYX TNX ratio, it is higher today. That's generally a tailwind behind gold. We had a lower dollar too, which is generally a tailwind behind gold. And gold it finished lower today. Bond prices were higher. You can see we're getting this pullback here, maybe to a support level, and then we'll see if we can re-engage to the upside for bond price. That means lower yields in the short term, if it were to do that. I'll say this too. Big picture view, bond prices went up into this end of trend pattern here, coming on back. And I think that we will head lower until we get inflation completely out of the system, so to speak, in terms of people thinking there's an inflation. It's the perception of inflation, and this is going to be kind of a weird area as we've got lots of bonds coming due where there's going to be a lot of bond selling pressure, and that generally drives yields higher. But in the short term, it does look like we could go higher in bond prices, which means lower yields potentially in the very short term. Um, Gold heading back a little bit. We did get some buying pressure towards the end of the day, a little bit of a wick at the bottom. I'm just trying to see if we can see any patterns here. Some people, I think they've got it modeled like that, where we could potentially have lower in the short term for gold, but it's holding up. And as time progresses, yields flipping back and forth like they have been is flinging asset prices all around the place. It's getting hard to project which direction as the trend has a counter trend in the bigger trend. So we're getting a pullback in yields in what I think is a longer term uptrend in yields. Silver down a little bit, it's holding on, and it's right underneath the trend line. Right underneath the trend line. It looks like we've got another trend line coming through here too. We'll see which way we break. Platinum down 1.5%. Again, we've broken out of this pattern to the upside, done a return move, and we're just kind of moving back and forth as we try to find what direction yields are going to go. Palladium also pulling on back, kind of doing that full retest thing, and we'll see which direction we go here. I am favoring this in the upward direction as we've got a falling wedge into a big short covering and then the small pullback for the retest. Makes me think we're going to go higher over the longer term. XE to gold ratio, we're up 1%. It looks like we're trying to put in a bottom here. Are we going to get a yield curve on inversion? Are we going to get lower yields, weaker dollar? This would push it higher. So it's one to watch. We'll continue to watch it. And there's the big bullish engulfing on the gold to silver mining companies to gold ratio. We'll see if we can get any follow through. CRB index is down today. We're still underneath this resistance line. And, I was quite surprised with the selling pressure we saw in oil today. But we could go a little bit lower in the short term. It is possible. CRB to S&P 500 also selling off a little bit more today. It looks like we were trying to put in a bottom here. We were coming on up, and we got a little puke day today where we puked lower in the CRB to S&P 500. It still looks good. This is our overlaid fractal from last bull market, overlaid on what we see today. And maybe this is something that is similar to last bull market. We'll see. GDX down slightly, but we've got some buying pressure on support. That's what the green candlestick is. It gapped down, was bought up back throughout the day. That's what it looks like. Here it gapped lower in the beginning of the day and then came back up towards the end of the day. We've got GDXJ doing something very similar. Gap down, came and was bought back up throughout the day, and we're right at that trend line. We'll see if this support area holds. SILJ also right at the trend line above a couple support areas, right on support. So again, we'll see if it holds. Crude oil started the day pretty rough, end of the day pretty rough still. There was some buying pressure towards the end of the day, not much, but you can see we're trying to come on up from there. And we had a pretty strong selling pressure move right out of the gate. Do we have further downside here, or are we just kind of moving sideways with a bunch of volatility? We've broken the downtrend line. We've broken it. We've done a retest. That generally works its way higher. And I'm curious to see which direction this goes. ETF gas down 8.5%. Pretty rough day. Momentum's to the downside. It looks like we're trying to form some sort of counter trend move here, and we'll see if it's successful. So sideways at best is where I think the counter trend move could potentially go. Nat gas, surprising here, guys. We saw this thing get ripped in the morning. I mean, look at the morning here. Just total selling pressure double bottom, then moving back up. Surprisingly, that's a very big move, 2.3% from where we were. This went all the way down to 2.713, about $2.70 to 296. That's a 20-cent plus move in a pretty short period of time. So the momentum is actually coming to the upside um, in natural gas, surprisingly. Very big candlestick bouncing off that support level. XOP, yeah, you know me. Looking at XOP, I don't think it looks that bad, guys. Like, I know we got scared this morning. A lot of people were scared, I'm sure. Oh, no, we're selling off. I saw it on Twitter. But the candlestick today doesn't look that bad. That looks like a reversal candlestick where we sold off and reversed back on up. So the momentum's coming to the upside. I know we have a down day. I get it. Now, if we look at the short term here, we had that big selling pressure gap in the morning, and then we came back on up. That's actually a pretty good sign of strength. We'll see if what happens tomorrow in trading. If I see this really start to come out the bottom here, I think it looks good. But again, I don't want to eat my words tomorrow. It's looking okay. I'll just say that it looks okay. This is generally a reversal candlestick. Let's see if we get follow through tomorrow. OIH also selling off hard in the morning. Man, I saw that thing. I was like, what the heck here? But then we came back throughout the day, buying pressure coming in and pushing the price back up. That does not scream weakness to me. That screams strength. It's a hammer candlestick. A lot of the time, that could be a potential bottoming formation. We've broken out of this pattern, upside, retest. We'll see if we get the follow through. Profitable Uranium Trust up 0.25%. It's still in this weird, funky rising wedge. We'll see what occurs with this. Not a lot of buying pressure here, which doesn't give me a ton of confidence. But on the other hand, I still wouldn't sell this even in the face of this pattern. I'm not scared of you, rising wedge. I'm gonna continue to hold. If all my uranium equities, I would continue to hold. URA up 1.5% roughly. I don't see like reversal candlesticks or anything. We got this ugly looking gap from that dividend, but it's looking okay. We've got a bullish engulfing, that green candlestick there. URNM up 1.25. We're still above trend line. Everything's okay. It's holding together. And the selling pressure isn't immense. There's not a ton of bearish engulfings or anything like that. So we can still go in either direction here, guys. And URNJ doing the same thing. We can go in either direction. So I'm not worried. I'm not afraid. We're still in the right market conditions for this to occur. There could be a slowdown between where we are today and where we want to go. That still is the case with bank lending kind of slowing down in some of these areas and the M2 money supply coming back a little bit. But again, it still looks okay. There's nothing wrong here. TAN moving sideways, and it's right on support. We've got copper actually looking pretty good. Looks like it wants to go higher here. Nice little bullish engulfing here. We came down into the opening and closing price came together here to create a little candlesticks here. Then we got a bullish engulfing. That's generally a move to the upside. Looking at this from a different perspective, it's basically a broken down trend line with a double bottom, and then you've got your head there that we have to still work our way back up. That's what I'm seeing in the short-term chart in copper. So this is your double bottom, and then a potential move on up. Lithium, putting in a bullish engulfing that looks like it wants to go higher. I know. People are worried. Hold on back. Bullish engulfing, bullish engulfing, bullish engulfing, bullish engulfing. It's all over the place here, guys. It looks good. I think we could go higher. REMX, again, it gapped lower in the morning, and then it worked it. This is the big gap here, right there. Boom, down. And look, we came all the way back up. That does not scream complete weakness there. That screams that we could potentially try to make a move higher. We'll see. The S&P 500, surprisingly, putting in a pretty nice candlestick here. Pretty good follow through. So that looks actually pretty good. Same with the NASDAQ. Nice, good follow through today. Nice, strong move. So we kind of pulled back, we slowed down our pullback, and then we ripped it throughout the day, which is weird. It's weird to see strength in some of these sectors and see oil get absolutely obliterated. Kind of weird, but people are buying the equities, oil equities. So I'm kind of looking at this and using this as a gauge. Like the weakness wasn't across the entire board. It was only focused on a few commodity sectors. KRE still looking fantastic. I think this could go higher here. There's not much selling pressure. I think we're going up in the regional banks. We've got emerging markets that's looking right on support. If we get weaker yields, I think this will work its way on up. It looks pretty strong today with a nice big bullish engulfing. Higher is where I see it. XHB working its way higher. This is an animal here, guys. It looks good to go on up. A lot of the home builder ETFs continue to put in strength. Doesn't look bad at all. MU working its way higher, 0.3%. To me, let's see what we get in the short term. To me, it still looks good. Bullish engulfing, not much selling pressure up against resistance. I'm going to look to see if this thing can punch through to the upside. Copper up a little bit. We've got this on top of a trend line there, and we'll see if we can get some traction here to the upside. If we are going to get a recession, this will beeline lower with the two-year yield. They'll beeline to the downside. We're not seeing that yet. Iron ore, this looks good to go higher. We're seeing a small, compact pullback, and I bet you we'll eventually work our way on up. The momentum is to the upside here. We're just getting a small pullback. Aluminum down 1.5%. I know this thing was right on support. Looks like we're back within this squeezing pattern all through here for aluminum. We've got the Baltic Dry Index up 1.15%. Looks like it's trying to turn. We'll see if this thing can turn around here. I'm still bullish, and the projected price move of this falling wedge is up here. We've got Newcastle Coal. It is down 0.57%, which isn't that bad compared to some of these other sectors at the moment, but it is basing out, and I think eventually it'll work its way on up. Some of the coal stocks look pretty good. And then BTC ripping it today, up 6%. This is a continuation pattern here. It squeezed up again, and then you can see we pumped it to the upside. Is this a sign that liquidity is coming into the market? Kind of think it does. I mean, look at this thing rip. And then Ethereum's ripping to the upside as well for Ethereum, and that looks like it's ready to go higher, bullish engulfing. There's one here, not much selling pressure outside of that one day. This one day was a funky day there, that big red day. There's a lot of selling pressure across the board. Some funky stuff occurred with low volume. But that's what I've got for today, guys. It looks pretty good for some of these sectors. Ethereum and Bitcoin look like they're ready to go upside. And then, most everything else doesn't look too bad. It looks like we're trying to put in bottoms, trying to turn this thing around, and we'll see if we can do it. So we'll continue to monitor it together and keep watching the charts. So give me a thumb up for the content, subscribe to the channel. If you want, we've got that Wednesday training session coming up. If you guys want to dive deeper into technical analysis, human psychology, looking at some of the companies, how I pick them, stuff like that. All right, guys, that's all I've got for today. Catch you next time. This is Finding Value.